Man, I ain't uploaded in a while. Howdy gamers, and welcome back to another episode of Somebody Irrelevant to Everyone and Everything talks about a game that he cares about. I'm Reaper 202307, and today we're going to be discussing how Moon will be appearing to play a part in Help Wanted 2. This video isn't going to be a theory, just a discussion, as I can't figure out an answer to the question I'm trying to pose. If you haven't seen or heard about it yet, during PAX West, Steelwool Studios set up a booth and allowed people to play some of Help Wanted 2 early. Both Dawko and FuhNaff have the early gameplay up on their channels, so I'd go watch those two videos before this one. One of the levels that was shown off had you repairing a carousel while being hunted by the daycare nighttime attendant himself. My question after seeing his inclusion in the game was how it was possible for him to be there in the condition that he's in. And beyond that, when in the timeline does this game take place? We know based on one of the endings in Ruin that the FNaF 6 pizzeria was built on top of the sister location bunker, since we've seen the scooper absolutely wreck the Mimic. But the bunker is practically falling apart at this point since it's gone undisturbed for God knows how long. We see in the gameplay of Help Wanted 2 that the two other levels shown don't have the level of decay that we see at the end of Ruin, which stands to reason that the area you play in hasn't been abandoned yet. Not to mention that the Pizzaplex was built on top of that as well, so it's pretty deep underground at this point. I know that there's the whole nightmare gas thing that was introduced in the latest Tales from the Pizzaplex book, and I do believe that will most likely play some part in the story, but to what extent I'm not sure. Assuming that the gas is going to play a part in the game's story, that would explain why everything looks the way it does. For those that don't know, and I'll make this quick, the most recent Tales from the Pizzaplex book B7-2 contains a story called Didophobia where the main character Rory has nightmares and experiences that directly relate to the gameplay of FNaF 4. He finds out that none of his current life is real and that the nightmares are created from a hallucinogenic gas and his house is actually a testing chamber of some sort, but decides to stay anyway because he's a freaking moron. But that's not the point though. In the story, it's stated that he hears a sort of hissing sound coming from a vent that was distributing the gas into the room he was in. That gas was making the nightmare animatronics look the way they did. There are some people online that have equated the hiss to a hissing heard in Sister Location every time the elevator doors open at the start of the night.
Hi, Editing Reaper here. Hey, I went back and checked the footage. It doesn't happen when the elevator opens, it's just heard when you're in the elevator in Sister Location. So we're gonna call that part my bad.
A hiss that is also heard in the Help Wanted 2 reveal trailer. The gas would explain why everything looks as clean as it does, despite being almost 60 years old and not being touched for over 30 years. A little side note, we don't know when Sister Location's gameplay takes place, so it could be longer or shorter than that, I'm not sure. But what I'm curious about is the fact that Moon is here. How can he be around right now under the Pizzaplex? In order for the Pizzaplex to have been built on top of the FNaF 6 location, the FNaF 6 location has to burn down. And given that the Mimic was sealed during the construction of the Pizzaplex, based on the epilogue of the first Tales from the Pizzaplex book, we know that Moon shouldn't be able to get down there before the events of Security Breach. Assuming that Help Wanted 2 takes place after Ruin, after Cassie destroys the concrete wall that was sealing the Mimic, Moon's design looking like how he does in Security Breach would be explained by the nightmare gas, tricking our mind into thinking that's what he looks like. But Sun and Moon were both taken over by Eclipse in Chapter 2 of Ruin, so it can't happen then either. So when does this game take place? It could be that this is a different endoskeleton with the Moon exterior, and Help Wanted 2 does take place after the events of Ruin. Or that is the Moon from Security Breach, and this takes place before the Pizzaplex was built. But the latter wouldn't make much sense since it doesn't make sense for Fazbear Entertainment to put an animatronic in a construction zone. I'm honestly at a loss for trying to figure out when this game takes place. But tell me what you guys think by leaving a comment down below. I enjoy engaging with people about topics like this, and I want to know more about this series. So go ahead and tell me your thoughts on how it's possible for Moon to be in Help Wanted 2. Thank y'all so very much for watching to the end of the video. It means a ton to me that you even clicked on it in the first place. Like I said in the last video, it's kind of hard for me to keep up with school, work, and this, especially when homework is taking up a ton of my time, so uploads are going to be kind of far and few between until the end of the semester. There are some other FNaF topics that I'd like to talk about, specifically regarding Sister Location's placement in the timeline, but, you know, I still am compiling evidence for stuff like that. There's other ideas that I have for content in mind, but nothing's set in stone yet, so if you guys are interested in saying anything in specific, just let me know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this from me. But with that being said, thank you again very much so for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.